So you will ask the questions.
Yeah. Welcome, sir. Welcome back to Vishnu Podcast. I'm
Thank you.
Harshita, sir, from Vishnu Podcast. I'm Jasmi, sir, from Vishnu Podcast. So we got to know that our SVES provides support to the students who want to pursue higher education without third-party involvement. Can you please elaborate?
Yeah, so we have this graduate student abroad center. This was a brainchild of our Vice Chairman, Mr. Ravichandran. It was established almost maybe 6-7 years back. What we realized is students who actually are going abroad, many of them are not aware which university to apply to, and they depend on consultants. And that's where we wanted to help the students at least select good universities, good locations, where one, they're safe. Second, the ecosystem around the university also should be conducive for you to get internships, placements and all that. So that is something which was one of the objectives. Second is these alumni meets are actually helping us to connect which universities are good. That feedback also is there. Third, few students we have helped financially also. If that university is an Ivy League, or if it's rated very high, and the student has secured admission because of a high GRE score and good academics, and finance was a problem, what we have done, not many students, but I can name 3 universities where we have helped our students, and these are all top. One is Carnegie Mellon University, where we helped a student with a shortfall in the tuition fee. And what we told that student is, we will make that payment. You can repay that whenever you can, without interest. So that amount was repaid, quite a substantial amount, maybe after 10 years. Because what we told the student is, as and when you're comfortable. Now that initial help which we gave to him is, I don't want to name the students, is that he did very well in Carnegie Mellon. He went on, his advisor took him to Tokyo. He went to University of Tokyo. He pursued PhD for some time, and then he started his own company in artificial intelligence. And today he runs his own company, and it was acquired by another company. So he's done very well financially. So he is in a position to repay that. We never asked him. It was only a kind of an agreement we had. And he's repaid that. So the thing is, now we can support some other student with that. Another student we helped around about the same time was to go to another university called Vanderbilt. There the support was not much compared to the Carnegie Mellon student. Vanderbilt is again a very top university, and he did extremely well, and he's also very well placed in the US. Recently he bought a house also. The other boy also bought a house. Now recently we supported one of the girls who did chemical engineering from BVRT Narsapur. Now a girl doing chemical itself is not very common, and her MSET rank, she could have got a computer science seat, but she selected chemical because she was passionate about that field, and she is very clear she wants to do a PhD. Now she got accepted in Columbia University. Columbia, as you know, is again Ivy League. I think we funded almost practically the entire course. We funded her, highest funding we did for her. Again with the same condition that as and when you're earning money, try to repay it back interest free. So she's finished her masters. She's now waiting to get into PhD, but she's got a very good job in the interim period in Corning Glass, and Corning is a company which makes the Gorilla Glass. Yeah. So I'm quoting few examples here, but other than that also we have helped quite a few students guiding them, because our interest, because one of the things which the founder chairman also was very keen is that we need to help students who are in need. Obviously we can't help everyone because we don't have unlimited resources, but if there is an economic requirement and the student is genuinely good, then definitely we come forward and help.
So when comparing to the other colleges won't be having these many clubs as we do here. We are having RJ, podcast, there are many film clubs as well. Why always like you
wanted us to do many things, as you mentioned already earlier. But we generally do listen from our parents, like focus on academics, even though they are encouraging you, but you first focus on academics.
It's a very good question actually, because a personality should be well-rounded according to me. And none of these things are compulsory. It all depends on the student's interest. The facilities are provided to you. I don't think people are forcing anyone to join a club. It's all depending on your student's interest. Now you look at the intermediate education. See, that's where I say it's a paradox even from the parents' angle. None of the students are happy in our intermediate system in India right now, in at least in Andhra and Telangana. And why is it that everyone is joining them there? You understand what I'm saying? Students are not happy, but everyone goes and joins there. And I was told those 2 years there is nothing except studies. Now, do you think that should continue for another 4 years here? So, studies is definitely important, there's no doubt about it. But you need to take a break once in a while. And that's the most important time of your life. Those 4 years is where you actually make it or break it. So, that maturity should be there to balance your studies and then take up something which you like. Because I'm sure every student has got some talent. So we are trying to provide opportunities for you to actually enjoy those talents here. Otherwise, why would we put a squash court here? Why would we put a shooting rifle here? Why would we put tennis courts here, swimming pools, cinema theaters and all that? So that is giving opportunities, or for example, this radio station itself. Okay. Second, a very important thing which a lot of people don't know is, if you look at the profile of our students who come here, mostly they come from the rural bit. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So what is lacking in the rural area is the confidence compared to a city-based student. It's not intelligence, it is not hardworking nature or all that. Probably intelligence and hardworking nature, probably the rural students are better. But where we are lacking is that confidence, because we think we are inferior. We don't have the exposure. Now this campus, if you see the journey of a student coming even from the smallest village, he or she, by the time they graduate out, don't you think there'll be a transformation here? Because even the city-based colleges don't have this. So that's another objective for us also. We want to make sure that the student is not in any way feeling inferior to anyone. Because tomorrow you might go for a competition. Let's say you go to Bangalore or you go to Pune or Hyderabad. You also feel, yes, my campus is equally good, I've got enough facilities. And that's what we're getting feedback from our students, especially last week we were in Chennai. And we had this panel discussion of 6 SVCW students there. All girls, obviously, and only one was from the IT sector and one was from the pharma sector. The other 5 were automotive. And they felt very proud saying that all their colleagues in the department are either from NITs or IITs or deemed universities. So 20 students say in Mahindra and Mahindra from Bhimavaram. So now Bhimavaram has become a brand in the Mahindra campus in Chennai. Now how is it possible? So when they say that ma daggara track undante, they're all shocked, it seems. Or me danto track kuda bettara. So we have to find our own ways, our own solutions to compete with the world.
So what's your next 5 years vision for Sri Vishnu Educational Society?
I think we are seriously considering to become a university. Obviously there are challenges because now we are in 2 states. So we have to apply for universities in both the states. So Telangana, I think there is clarity what we need to do here. In fact, just this morning also we're thinking whether we should go for a women's university, because Andhra Pradesh doesn't have a women's university in the private sector. Only Padmavati Mahila University is there. So yeah, maybe in the next 6 months you will see some good announcements coming. But definitely we have to become a university.
Apart from academics, అంటే స్టూడెంట్స్ ని మీరు ఆ మోటోలోనే ఎంకరేజ్ చేయడం కాకుండా you also established Vedic in Hyderabad and Bangalore as well. What's the main motto of establishing this?
So Vedic actually stands for Vishnu Educational Development and Innovation Center. And the idea basically came out of a need. The need is how do we make our faculty really good in what they do. Basically 2 things. One is teaching and the other one is research. And this was based on my own experience as a student. And in fact, If you ask anyone who's your favorite teacher, probably throughout your schooling days or up to college, you'll probably remember only few of them. So why is it that that particular teacher made an impact on you? Is it that a very difficult subject was taught nicely, or maybe an abstract subject was taught in a nice practical manner, or maybe the teacher's personality, we don't know. So I also went through the same system, and then I realized that if we can motivate our faculty to actually adopt better techniques in teaching, they call it pedagogy, and can they collaborate better and improve the quality of teaching. So that was the first objective. The second objective is all our institutions, they're relatively young, and in the evolution process what happens is the focus is mainly on teaching. But any good institution is known by the quality of its research also. So we are at that point where now we are also trying to increase the quality of publications, patents, and many of our faculty are young. So how do we actually guide them to do research? Even simple things like writing a grant proposal, simple things like writing a very good quality paper which can be accepted by a very high quality publication with a high impact factor. So these are two things which we thought we should sort of work with the faculty. Then sometime later we thought, now the customer is our student, and how do we actually motivate our students also to probably learn better, learn smartly. And you probably all agree that at least in India, many students don't choose a discipline or a branch out of their own interest. It's basically peer pressure or parental pressure or lack of knowledge. So how do we motivate students, and how do we make them think positively? So basically all the soft skills. So this is something which we also thought about. And then the inspiration for us came from the banking sector. So if you go to any good bank or banks like State Bank of India, in IDBI, they all have staff training colleges where people come from throughout the country and get trained on various topics, because the banking regulations are changing rapidly. So that was an inspiration. I visited few campuses along with our vice chairman, especially State Bank of India. In Hyderabad, they have two facilities like that, just to get an idea of what was happening. And then we also went to this teaching learning center in IIT Madras. So if you go to IIT Madras, the central library on the 4th floor, they have a facility where the furniture there is exactly like what we have in Vedic Hyderabad. And I was surprised that even a premier institute like IIT has recognized that faculty also have to be trained. And the initial support when we started Vedic in 2016, we took from the person who actually set up that facility in IIT Madras, and he helped us. So I think that's what Vedic is all about.
So as you mentioned, research papers and all, faculty research papers చేస్తున్నప్పుడు they will be getting a knowledge, right, sir? And మీరు ఇనిషియల్గానే అనుకున్నారా సార్ ఈ రీసెర్చ్ పేపర్స్ కుడ్ హెల్ప్ స్టూడెంట్స్ somehow so that
100%, because there is a correlation between good research and good teaching. You take any subject in engineering or the sciences. Now, if the teacher is teaching the same thing again and again, day in and day out, semester by semester, there is no innovation there. Okay, the faculty himself will get bored. Now, suppose some research is being done by that faculty in his field or her field. Obviously, that means that faculty is actually doing a lot of study on that particular subject throughout the world, what is happening, and then trying to come out with a new idea. In the process, the faculty also will improve or widen the range of knowledge, which again can be brought into the classroom. And I actually experienced it when I was studying in the US. I did my master's there, so I could relate to it because I did my BTech in India and my master's in the US, chemical engineering. Of course, I had wonderful teachers in Trichy also as NIT, but definitely I saw some of the faculty in the US who are very good researchers. They may not be very good in communication, but the content they actually brought into the classroom was something which was really good. And basically, because of the research they were doing, the advances in that field was also brought to the classroom.
So as you mentioned about innovation, Asalu Bhimavaram is a tier 3 city. But how you got up with an idea establishing TBI in Bhimavaram?
It's a very good question, Amma. In fact, the founder chairman, my grandfather, when he wanted to start this campus, a lot of people asked the same question. ఇక్కడ ఎందుకు పెడుతున్నారండి, హైదరాబాద్లో పెట్టొచ్చు కదా, అంతమంది స్టూడెంట్స్ వస్తారా, ఫ్యాకల్టీ వస్తారా అని. బట్ హీ వాజ్ వెరీ క్లియర్ దట్ of course for him it was more of passion towards his native place, and he also wanted to do something good for the area. That's how this campus came here. Actually, I feel that being in a smaller town is definitely an advantage when being in a bigger city. That's my personal opinion, and there are numerous examples even in India. If you look at the first college town in India, can you name which is the first college town in India?
Not sure, sir.
Yeah, so obviously not something in Pune or Chennai because they're all metro cities. The first college town in India is Manipal. Now, Manipal was a forest before Dr. T.M.A. Pai even thought of setting up a campus there. So it was infested with tigers and bears and all that, and it was on a hill. Today probably I would rate that as a proper college town in India. So the innovation came in a small town. The world's largest eye hospital is in a tier 2 town called Madurai. It's not in Bangalore, it's not in Hyderabad or Chennai. I visited about 5 years back Asia's biggest dental laboratory. It's again in a tier 3 town in Kerala. So I don't think innovation or entrepreneurship is limited to the big cities. Take the case of even established companies like Zoho. I don't know if you heard about this company called Zoho, which is actually a big competitor to Salesforce. And the founder went to IIT Madras, he went to Princeton. He had a very comfortable life in Bay Area in Silicon Valley. And he decided he wanted to come back to India, and then he set up the office in a tier 4 town in Tamil Nadu called Tenkasi. And some of the best products are coming out of those areas. So, in fact, I think it is definitely an advantage. That's my personal opinion.
So generally, placement cells information will be taken by faculty head coordinators. But how did you get that unique and amazing idea to collaborate with industries in real time regarding placement cells?
So again, a very good question. You're right. Most of the colleges, including when I studied in Trichy also, one of the department professors would be the training and placement in charge. Okay, and that's typically the case. And in fact, I think a lot of credit goes to our vice chairman, Mr. Ravichandran, because we discuss a lot on how to improve the college. So, and maybe because we are from the industry, we know how the industry runs, and more so in the manufacturing sector where you have marketing, you have branch offices and all that. So first we thought, now since we have a group of colleges, for example, engineering we have 4, pharmacy we have 2. So where are the jobs? And then when we looked at that, definitely all the cities like Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai, Pune, the NCR region of India, that is Delhi area, Mumbai. So I think the top 7-8 cities we understood where the jobs were. So now how do we get companies which are located there to our campus? So we realized it is a 24/7 job, and a faculty from one of the engineering colleges will not be able to do it. And that's how we established, I think first we took a step to set up in Chennai, keeping Bhimavaram in view because proximity to Chennai, and also most of the the IT companies other than Hyderabad and Bangalore, Chennai is there, automotive companies. And we got very good results in Chennai. Then we set up in Pune. Pune today, if you see our Bhimavaram students, I think there is a huge contingent even in a company like John Deere. I was told there are at least about 30 to 40 of our students who are still working there. Otherwise, John Deere won't come here. Okay, you won't get Daimler, Mercedes-Benz from Bangalore to come here. You won't get Renault, Nissan coming here. So So encouraged by Chennai, Hyderabad anyway, because that's our head office we had. Then Bangalore also was done, Pune was done. Then we took the bold step of going towards Gujarat. Now Gujarat, the challenge was all the offices, we had good people who were working very hard to interact with companies. The challenge was a lot of our students didn't want to go to the north. Okay. Then recently, I think about 6 months back, we also opened an office in Delhi area. Okay. So there are advantages if you do that. One, obviously companies coming for placement, but more importantly, networking with the industry. And maybe even get guest faculty, send our faculty for training there. That's how you build up a relationship, and then ultimately we can probably get internships and jobs. So that's how the idea came. Probably our industrial background helped us, because when you sell a product, you sell in different geographies. So you need to have offices to actually have marketing people to sell the product. Probably that's how we took that example and then did this.
So coming to the Student Success Center, which is recently established in our campus, we were first a bit kind of curious what is the Student Success Center. ఎందుకంటే ముందు వరకు we never seen it in any other campus. Actually, we never heard of it. But how does that work actually started?
So the idea came because again, if you remember, I think one of the points I made was in India many times students don't select the branch or even the discipline out of their own interest. And so when you get an incoming class, let us take in Sri Vishnu Engineering College for women itself. If you look at those hundreds of students who come into the class, traditionally what colleges are doing is to mass produce engineers, not understanding whether that student is really interested to do that course or not, and what are the strengths and weaknesses of that student. Of course, it's a difficult task to go individually to each one, but what we are trying to do is we don't want a mass production of students coming out. As far as possible, we would like to work with each student, find out the student's strengths and weaknesses, aspirations, and help in the journey of that student to be successful. Now, what is success? Ultimately, success can be different for different people. And if you look at Sri Vishnu itself, you have some amazing success stories, like people working in the best of companies having a 50 lakhs package, people getting into civil services, becoming collectors of districts, you name it, people have done it. So how do we actually help students to be successful and navigate those 4 years or 5 years if it's a dental college, or 3 years if it's a degree college? How do we help them navigate their journey? Because they come from a 10+2 system where the culture is different. Now the next 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, how do we make them navigate the journey and make them successful, make them happy, show them some paths? So that was the fundamental idea which we were thinking for a long time. And I was also surprised in the US, not so in the Far East and all that, but in the US, off late, last 6-7 years, we have seen a lot of colleges having these centers. Now, what are the services they offer? One is guiding students, even selecting their courses. Because in the US and the UK, I think you can select courses. Here you can't, unless it's an elective. Everyone has to go through the same thing. So they have an advisor to help that student decide which course to take. If any help is required for some of those prerequisites, that is given. That is as far as academics is concerned. Second, there are a lot of counselors for psychological counseling, mental health issues. I also saw that some of the good universities are offering even short-term programs in financial literacy. Because tomorrow, how are you going to manage your finances? No college teaches that. Things like that. And a lot of add-ons are there. So we thought definitely that is something which we should also do. Obviously today, UGC or AICT, none of us are telling us to do it. But this is based on the need. And we have piloted it in both our women's colleges here in Bemuram. Of course, here I think it's across the campus. The initial pilot was done in BVR at Hyderabad. And I think the initial, and then the other one, the peer-led learning and teaching. See, just imagine you're a first year student, you come from different backgrounds. You may be rural, you may be urban, you may be weak in mathematics, you may be strong in mathematics, you may be an extrovert, you may be an introvert. So different personalities, they come here. And let us say, for example, you are finding difficulty, let us say, in mathematics. Students will hesitate to go and talk to the faculty. They're scared. And then they get into a shell. But suppose that student is mentored by another student, a student who's senior by 1 year or 2 years, who's very good in that subject, and would like to actually mentor that student or a group of students. Why not? Don't you think that's a good way to do it? So some of these ideas we thought, let's try it out and help the students. So that's
as you mentioned, like peer training and all. Actually, స్కూల్లో ఒక నేషనల్ వైడ్ ఇన్నోవేషన్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ జరుగుతుంది సార్. వి గాట్ అ నోటీస్ ఫ్రమ్ డైరెక్టర్ సార్, లైక్ ఇన్నోవేషన్లో ఎవరికైనా నాలెడ్జ్ ఉంటే సో దట్ వీ కెన్ ట్రైన్ స్కూల్ స్టూడెంట్స్. We got the info. We trained for around 10 days with the school students. We got to know about their ideas. It was like, okay, we trained school students. I got experience. Right. Yeah, it felt like, okay, I trained.
Sure. And even the trainers feel happy.
Yeah,
you feel that you made a difference.
Yeah, sir. So as you mentioned about psychologists in the previous talk, as director sir's initiative, we thought of doing psychologist collaboration with VPOD, sir. And mental health awareness and breaking down the stigma, which is not at all necessary in these days.
Right.
Yeah. When we thought of doing it, we created a Google form and did survey along the states, along Andhra Pradesh, and it somehow went to the north. And we got to know that మీ కాలేజ్లో సైకాలజిస్ట్లు ఉన్నారా, ఆ కాలేజ్లో లేరు. అవునా, అంత ఫ్రీగా ఉంటారా మీరు, అంత ఫ్రీగా వెళ్ళి మాట్లాడగలుగుతున్నారా అని చెప్పి. సార్, ఇది ఎప్పటి నుంచో ఉంది కదా సార్. హౌ యూ ఫెల్ట్ లైక్ ఎస్టాబ్లిషింగ్ ది సైకాలజీ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ ఇన్ ది క్యాంపసెస్ అండ్ మేకింగ్
ఇక్కడ భీమవరంలో ఐ థింక్ వన్ ఆఫ్ ద మెయిన్ రీజన్స్ ఇస్ ఒకటి ద హాస్టల్ పాపులేషన్ ఇస్ హ్యూజ్ అండ్ there were incidents where students were going in the wrong direction. And how do we identify any behavioral change? As you said initially, there is a stigma. And they'll be scared to go and talk to maybe their own friends, maybe faculty. So can we get trained psychologists who have that knack of talking to them and, more importantly, keeping that information confidential? This is not something which is publicized. In fact, we don't know what is happening. We only probably get a report, okay, lot of people have these issues, but we don't ask, and they are not supposed to give ethically also. So that's how the idea came, to help the students. And maybe because Bhimvaram has a lot of hostels and a lot of students staying in the hostels, and we had issues in the past where certain things could have been prevented. So that's how the idea came.
Yes.
But having said that, I think post-pandemic, it has become much more important now. And also with social media, I think a lot of challenges are there. In fact, you'll be surprised in some of the Vedic programs conducted for first year students. In Hyderabad, whenever I get a chance, I go there for the final session. 2 days back also I was there. And I asked these students, there were about 64 students there, how many of you know the other one's names, and how many of your students, how many of your friends you know? People did not even know the next bench was sitting. And this is 3 months after the college started. Whereas when we were students, we knew practically everyone even now I know all my classmates. Because we were not disturbed by social media or mobile phones. So these are challenges.
So coming to this psychology and all, keeping that apart, అంటే Vedic is a thing, welfare, completely students welfare అవుతుంది, faculty welfare. And how, ఇప్పుడు some parent is watching this, how does Vedic and how are they much confident about this Vedic thing?
Yeah, I think student feedback has been phenomenal. In fact, if you see the Google reviews also in the Vedic website, I think it's about 4.8 or 4.9. And whenever I come across our students after they graduated, in fact, most of the alumni meets, when students give feedback, many of them talk about Vedic and how that benefited them. Parents also talk about it, but I have not directly spoken to parents about Vedic. But student feedback has been extremely good. Faculty also are quite happy, especially the younger faculty who really want to do something. Definitely, and they're also exchanging ideas. See, for example, if I'm teaching a subject, and if they say someone else who's teaching that subject very well, they're exchanging ideas on how to communicate that subject. So it's also, I think, helpful for the faculty.
సో ఇప్పుడు మనం ఇన్నోవేషన్ గురించి మాట్లాడుకున్నాం అండ్ యాజ్ యూ నో దెర్ ఆర్ ఫ్యూ అప్కమింగ్ స్టార్ట్అప్స్ ఫ్రమ్ అవర్ కాలేజ్. హౌ డూ యూ ఫీల్ వెన్ యువర్ స్టూడెంట్స్ ఆర్ నౌ CEOs of their startups?
I feel extremely happy because not today, right from last 20 years, in many talks I've told the students